So this is a good pilot because it emphasizes the value of escalating fidelity of pilots as you get to higher and higher budgets. So the behavioral statement is kind of an interesting one. When you're in the Medicare Advantage space, it becomes incredibly important to get people into your plan. Each person that joins your plan is worth tens, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars over the 20 years that they're going to be with your plan. So getting people in, acquiring customers is incredibly important. So the sort of challenge from the executive team was, how do we get people into the plan? We know what we want. We want people to join. And one of the traditional ways of getting people into really any product is through referrals, right? Getting people to say, hey, I'm a part of this thing and you should be a part of this thing too. That's hard in insurance, right? You and I could be best friends, and the chances that we talked about insurance, unless you're specifically looking for insurance, you're probably unlikely to say, hey, Matt, how much do you like your insurance? And I'm probably unlikely to, out of the blue, nowhere say, hey, you know what? I really love my insurance plan. So somehow we have to get into that conversation between friends. So we know that's the outcome that we want. So we started having this conversation with people. The key insight here comes from the started group, people who had started to refer their friends to our plan. And the key thing that we found is that it had come after there was some noticeable benefit that was around the brand of the plan. It could be a swag, it could be some sort of event they attended, but somehow they had an experience that caused them to start to recommend things to others. We said, all right, we're gonna get on the way here. So the first thing to think about in our interviews, we started to talk to people and we said, well, what is it you talk about with your friends? And it turns out the number one topic of conversation with your friend is, what are you doing this weekend? What are you doing, on Friday? What are you doing on Saturday? What's upcoming for you? That's a thing friends talk about a lot. So how does an insurance company get into the middle of that conversation? Well, we decided we're going to throw our own member loyalty event. So we rented out a local bar, got a local band, we did food, all those things. And then we sent out to a group of about 100 members 2 tickets for them and a friend. We said, hey, as a loyal member of our plan, come on out. We're throwing a party, bring someone. And it turns out a lot of people chose to attend. About 80% of the people that we sent tickets to ended up bringing someone with them. So that meant for every 100 people that we contacted, we got 40 new people we hadn't talked to before. That's pretty amazing and pretty big for a plan like ours. Why do I like this as an example? Because it didn't really end there, right? This is, less than, remember, quick, cheap, easy. So it was very easy to plan. It was less than $1,000 to do the food and the band and the bar, right? Quick, cheap, easy, run entirely by my team. Now, at scale, we want to do something big, right? We want to go rent out the Astrodome and throw our own concert and, bring tons of, because, hey, remember, for every 100 tickets that I send out, I get 40 new people. So that means if I could send hundreds of thousands of tickets, then I could get 40,000 people. All right, this sounds like a really good thing, but this is going to be really expensive. And I can't do that off a little, bar and beer kind of pilot. So we go to the next pilot, the next level of fidelity. And we took an actual concert that was happening that happened to be sold out in the area. And we got some tickets. And so now, instead of this low value party that we had a much higher value thing. We said, hey, we can actually invite you to a bigger, better thing, right? Which is this sold out concert that was attractive to the age group of the time. It was a soul singer. And that one was a more expensive pilot. Now we're not just spending $1,000. We're starting to spend a larger amount of money and bringing people along. This is starting to get a little more expensive. But now we can do something with a little higher fidelity that gives us some confidence to move to that next level. And so you escalate. That's okay, right? You don't have to nail all of the evidence on the first pilot. It just has to give us enough evidence to say, hey, we should go to that next step.